participating here, and yeah, go ahead.
Jordan, you used to go here.
Yeah.
Tell us your story from Glendora High School up till today.
Well, I used to go here. I graduated in 2007. I grew up in Glendora, and I had been going to school, and I grew up a Christian, I guess. I don't really know, but like I accepted the Lord when I was 5, I think, at a church service, and I walked up and said the little prayer and everything, and I went to private school from kindergarten to 8th grade, and then I came here to Glendora High School. So when I got here, things were different. It wasn't exactly Christian campus or anything, and so I found myself starting to fall away from the things that I learned when I was at school, and when I would go to church. And slowly started going to church a lot less and started to fall away from the youth groups. And I found myself just battling like a really, a lot of darkness. I was in a lot of dark places all throughout high school. And so, I just kind of got to a place where I started to reject God in my life. And I started to feel almost abandoned, like God wasn't there, or maybe He forgot about me. And I battled Christians a lot. Like I would try to come up with every excuse. What do you think about this, Christians? You're hypocrites and all this, and I just kept just digging the hole, just deeper and deeper and deeper. And it wasn't until probably about 1.5 years ago that I finally really feel like I came to the Lord. And I had made a decision that from that point on I was just gonna serve the Lord.
So what happened 1.5 years ago? Tell us.
So when I was here at Glendora High, I was and I drank a lot. Like every weekend I would be out with my friends, and we'd be drinking and smoking and partying, and that was like the life here at Glendora High School. And when I got out of high school, I didn't really let that go. It just kept going on, and I ended up getting into dealing pot. And so I was dealing pot for a while, and at that point it was just really dark. And I remember out of nowhere, I had called up my grandparents, and I wanted to reach out to them and see how they were doing. It just came out of nowhere. And so I'd gone over and visited my grandma, and they had prayed for me. And at that time, I wasn't even near to God, and I prayed with them. It was fine, but I still didn't want anything to do with God. And I just noticed my life was just kind of starting, it was almost like He was pulling me in, but I didn't realize it at the time. And I remember, so about 1.5 years ago, it was August 12th, 2012, and that morning, it was a Sunday, and I was supposed to go to church with my grandpa. He had asked me to go with him because he was going to be preaching. And so he called me up, and he said that he called me up that morning, and he said, "Jordan, today's the day, come to church with me." And I was, out slinging pot, and I couldn't go. And something in my heart told me, I should go, but I just, said, "No, I'm sorry. I have, I have things to do. I'm busy with work," is what I told him. And so he told me something. He said, "God's telling me that you have to go to church with me today. And so you have to come." And I didn't know what to say to that. I thought he was crazy. I didn't know that God tells you something. And, but so I don't know. I just told him, "I'm sorry, Grandpa. I can't do it." And so I hung up the phone, and an hour later, I get arrested. And they arrested me for intent to sell, possession with intent to sell, and I was facing a felony. And so I'm sitting there in jail that day, I'm looking at the clock, and I say to myself, I said, wow, I should be in church with my grandpa right now. And I had this moment where I'm just sitting there, and I said, could this really be coincidence? Could this really be, could I just write this all off to coincidence? And I sat there for a while, and I remember, like, I had this thought, and I went before God, and I told him, I was like, and I didn't even I wanted to pray, but I felt like a hypocrite, because I only want God in my life when I really need Him, but I told him, so I was like, well, if I don't do this now, I don't know when I'm gonna do it, and so I prayed, and I said, Lord, I don't know, what I'm supposed to do, but I'm willing just to do anything. And I know that I've been making a lot of mistakes, and I know that, I haven't been serving you, but I promise, just, please get me out of here, and I'll turn my life around. And I remember, there was a song, I sang it in the jail cell. It was Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved the wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. 'Twas blind, and now I see. And I just sang it, just the first song that popped up in my mind, and I was just singing it. And that night, they had told me that I wasn't going to get out. And the jailer came, and she talked to me and said, oh, Jordan Gibson. I said, yeah. And she said, oh, get your stuff, you're leaving. And I couldn't believe it. And she said, yeah, just, you're on an OR, which is a promise to appear in court. And so I walked out that day, and 2 weeks later, they dropped the felony charges against me. And it was like I have a clean slate, and even today, I've been going through a rough time, where I feel like maybe I've made some compromises, even along the way since then, and I just hear God, now I hear God, and He's telling me, in your weakness, my strength is made perfect. And, it's encouraging. And I know a lot of people need to hear that, that no matter what you're going through, because, I went through a lot, I went through hell, here on campus, and I went through hell in my life. And I didn't talk to anybody about it, and I didn't share with anybody, and I felt so far away from, how I grew up. And I just know, if there's people out there, if there's kids out there, if there's young people out there, I've prayed to the Lord, and, my hope is that they just come to Jesus. They know that Jesus is there, and Jesus is, He's for them, not against them. And if our God is for us, then who shall be against us? Yeah.
Why should some kid at Glendora High School come to our FCA club? You're an assistant coach on this club. You might mention that.
Oh yeah, I'm assistant.
And why would you want someone to come?
Come because I think about when I was a student here, and I was like, I have all this stuff that I'm going through. I have all these issues that I'm going through, and I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody about them. And I would try to talk to my friends about them, but they didn't want to talk about them. And so I felt alone. And this club is a place where you can come, and there's a lot of kids here, believe it or not, a lot of people, maybe even your friends or that are going through some of the same things that you're going through, and you have no idea. And this is a place that you can come to. This is a place, Jesus gave 2 commands: love God and love one another. And it's time that you, student, understand that and experience that, what that really means, who Jesus is. And you can find that here. And you can find that, you won't have to come here. You can go anywhere and find that, but come here and, you're safe here.
What is the gospel? What is the good news as you understand it?
The good news is that Jesus Christ actually exists. Like, he actually exists. Like, he's actually real. And I know the world wants to say that, oh, like, Jesus can't even be real. And I think that's just an impossible thing to say. Look around you. You know, you're living in a universe you can touch, you can feel, you can smell. You know, we're not all here for just boom and just doing nothing. I mean, God is real. And you know, it's real. Being a Christian, it's not what the world makes it out to be. Give Jesus a chance, and you know, the gospel is something living and breathing and empowering and changing. It's transforming, and you can go from being one person to another person. We're still sinners, but we're saved because of what he's done for us. You know, he died and set us free.
What difference does the cross make to you?
All the difference.
Why?
It's transformed my life. If he didn't come and die for us, you know, I like, for me, when I was sinning, you know, I didn't know that I was sinning. It got normal for me. I got used to it. I got comfortable with it. But it wasn't until I reached like rock bottom that I experienced, you know, Jesus. I experienced the cross, and I understood that this had to happen. That no man on this earth is perfect, and we can't save ourselves. We can't. You know, even when we think that we've got it all figured out, we can't. There's someone there that is always going to know more than us. And the cross, you know, that's when God said, I'm not going to let them go through this alone. So, I don't know what's the cross went through.
What happened to the sin in your life?
I've been set free.
How?
An important thing is when the Holy Spirit, when you receive Jesus, you know, you confess him, you say, and it's not just like a prayer that you say, but you know, it's a life-changing decision. It's telling God, I believe in you, and I want you to take control over my life. And if you do that with a pure heart and you really mean it, God will take over, and his Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit will come. He will set you free from living, you know, addicted to sin, addicted to you know, lust, pornography, you know, drugs, whatever it may be. You're not in chains anymore because the Holy Spirit's alive in you, and he's just constantly transforming you, and you're still a sinner. You know, we sin every single day. But the difference is that we're not living for sin anymore. We're not living for the things of the world anymore. And we have been set free.
All right, cue the bagpipes.
Yeah.
Cue the bagpipes.
Freedom!
Yeah, right. Braveheart, right?
Uh-huh.
All men die, but not all men really live.
Good.
That was good.